Good evening and welcome to the 2013 Fairport High School Commencement Ceremony. My name is Joe Fantagrossi and I am the very proud principal of Fairport High School. Please join me in giving another round of applause to our orchestra under the direction of Mr. Rich Osterling. I would now like to invite Katie Aroni and Lauren Fent to the podium for the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Katie and Lauren. That was a beautiful rendition of the national anthem. Dr. Hunter, our Board of Education members, Dr. Apthorpe, Ms. Gregory, Mr. Koval, Fairport High School faculty and staff, family, and friends of our soon-to-be graduates. Thank you for joining us for tonight's ceremony. I would also like to take a moment to thank all of those who assisted in the preparations for this event, particularly Mrs. Deb Doherty, Mrs. Nancy Confer, Mrs. Kathy Meyer, Mrs. Linda Murphy, Mrs. Donna Russell, and Mr. Ryan Clare, who has primary responsibility for the planning and organization of tonight's festivities. Before I give a few brief opening remarks, I would like to ask Dr. Jeffers and our class of 2013 choir to take their positions in preparation for their performance. Last week, a former colleague of mine asked me how my first year at Fairport High School went. My answer was summarized in one word: humbling. On August 1st, at approximately noon, I was announced as the new principal of Fairport High School. 3 hours later, I was standing in line at Heather Boyum's calling hours. It was at this moment that I realized Fairport was different than any place I had ever been. The response of the entire community was amazing. But there was one group that stood out to me. It was this senior class. Their grace and dignity under these circumstances would have been extraordinary for adults who have lost a loved one. But they showed these characteristics as 17-year-old students. Truly remarkable. Fast forward to November, and 10 busloads of students headed to Boston on their senior class trip. A testing ground of behavior, if you will. Honestly, I was not sure what to expect. At every turn, this group did not just meet expectations, but consistently exceeded them. Heck, when we asked students to be back on the bus by 3 p.m., they were there by 2:55 and asking where the chaperones were. January was the next milestone for this class, with the passing of their classmate and friend, Blake Cognata. As I have said a number of times before, this group could have reacted in a myriad of ways to the grief they were feeling. They could have been angry, nasty, destructive, withdrawn. But they chose to follow through on the message of hope and perseverance Blake spoke of. They chose to celebrate his life and their own with unshakable maturity. As the spring progressed, the class of 2013 continued to have opportunities to make decisions about their attitude and behavior. The events for a senior at FHS are numerous. The Senior Ball, Darien Lake, the Academic Awards Ceremony, Dollars for Scholars, and the Athletic Award Banquet, to name a few. In each and every event, they chose the path of respect, appreciation, and class. I would be remiss if I did not offer one piece of advice. Do not live your life always preparing for tomorrow. Sometimes you just need to enjoy today. Enjoy each and every stage of your life, because as so many of us seated in this arena already know, it goes by in a blink of an eye. It has been my sincere pleasure to serve as your principal this year. I could not be prouder of the way you have handled yourself in the face of adversity. Class of 2013, thanks again for being the best senior class I could ever ask for. Now please welcome our class of 2013 choir under the direction of Dr. Jim Jeffers.
Reach out my hand, oh may say you, oh may
Thank you, Dr. Jeffers and the choir. That was an excellent job. It is my pleasure to now introduce the President of our Board of Education, Mrs. Maureen Knupp, to say a few words. Mrs. Knupp.
It's my distinct honor to represent the community of Fairport, Perryton, and the school district, to congratulate you on your recent successes, and to thank you for participating in all of the activities and opportunities that Perryton, Fairport, and our school have provided you. Things that have made you stronger, things that have made you individuals with individual strengths and responsibilities. Now, the state of New York says that you have to take a certain number of courses, you have to pass with a certain degrees, but this is Fairport. We know you are more than a number. We know because we have been watching you from the time you entered the community, either at birth, middle school, elementary, middle, high school. We have been watching you. And let me tell you what we have seen. Some of us on stage here have only seen you at specific times of your lives. When I describe these times, I was wondering if you could give me either a thumbs up or a hand raise just to say, yes, you're one of the people that we saw. As a board, some of you have come to our meetings to be recognized. You have been part of scholar athlete teams, high honor students, recognized for awards and achievements in languages, in all county and all states. You've been award winners in a variety of tests in writing and art contests. You've been part of our robotics and Odyssey of the Mind programs. And I know I have forgotten some of you have come to the board for other reasons. Could you just give me a minute, just raise your hand or give me a thumbs up if you've ever been before the board for some degree of recognition? Thank you. Some of you have never appeared before the board, but this is Fairport. We have been watching you. And more importantly, we've been providing opportunities for you to try new and other activities, things that promote your health and well-being, and you have been so gracious and active in taking part of them. You've used our community center, our pool. You've participated in the parent and rec programs and the youth activities of the teen center. We have cheered, coached, and encouraged your efforts to be involved in a variety of sports programs from your youngest days when you were in youth sports, when you were in soccer, Little League, Pop Warner, Vince Lombardi, CYO basketball, travel teams, through your days playing at modified JV and varsity level. As members of your varsity teams, you were the first class that we watched during evening games on a lighted field. Raise your hand if you would, if we've seen you in any of those activities. Thank you. We've seen your artwork and activities in school halls, of course, but this is Fairport. Our entire community has rejoiced for so many years at your wonderful displays of your art, your talent at our annual Perryton Square Art Festival. We've applauded your work in concerts and talent shows. Drama presentations and musicals are often sold-out performances, and downstage tickets are in premium demand. For some of you, your passions have taken you outside of school for lessons in dance or music at other places, and we have seen you perform at other stages, whether Hochstein or Eastman Theater. Some of you will be performing next week as part of the International Jazz Festival. Raise your hand, please, if we have seen your art, your musicianship, or any of your other performance skills. Everybody over here. We have seen you in our parades. Sometimes you've been part of bands or scouts or community groups, the fire department auxiliary. Sometimes you've just been kids on the playgrounds. Sometimes you've been in our parades from middle school on, whether you were on the asset float, whether it was a club float, a class float, or a team float. If we've had and you've thrown us candy, thank you very much. If we've had the chance to see you in our parades, would you tell me about that? Some of you have been in our parades. Parents, I hope you're keeping score on this. And your generosity, your willingness to help people. You may think that people don't notice what you do with others because sometimes it's pride, but don't forget, this is Fairport, and we do see you. We have seen you coming together in so many different ways, whether it's in the elementary schools on field days as you cheer each other on, whether it's at churches, with scout groups, at Habitat for Humanity places, at soup kitchens. We've seen you raking leaves for your neighbors, collecting cans and books and sports equipment and many other items for those who are less fortunate. And you know those elementary kids you wrote letters to and visited and walked with as part of our Brotherhood Sisterhood Week? Trust me, they saw you. They were so pleased and impressed about the time you took to be with them. Some of you have even been asset leaders and guided us poor board members around when we're at different schools. You've helped with freshman and sophomore orientations, and all these things have been done because you are such caring individuals. Thank you very much. Show me who you are, please. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Federgrossi gave a list of all the things you've done to help break him in. He was watching you too, and he too is impressed. Thank you for helping him understand what we are all about when we say we are Fairport. And while you've been in Fairport, there have been many transitions, renovations, improvements. You were the class that had to wait for the most of them. You were in elementary school when we were talking about bringing in smart boards, and I talked to some of your classmates. They remember being excited when smart boards came into the classroom and they were wheeled in and they were special. And everybody wanted a chance to go up there. But by the time you've become seniors, they're not smart boards anymore, they're just boards. You have mastered technology. It's an expected part of your life. We have seen your skills, your ease in making presentations, in going through further than we have ever done as members of the audience in mastering technological tools. You've mastered iPads and iPods and iTunes and all those smartboards, and the presentations you've been giving us have been remarkable. Needless to say, we have seen your comfort and ease with current technology has far surpassed that of many of us in the audience tonight. So raise your hand if you know that is true for you. So thank you. We have a vision that talks about having caring, educated, analytical, academic, art-interested students who are going to be successful, and you are matching our vision and going beyond what we think in Fairport is right for students and right for our community. Thank you. You're on your way to new, hopefully exciting and productive times, but the news is that your success as individuals will always be impacted by the activities, the choices, and the opportunities you seized when you were here with us in Fairport. Good luck, seniors. Good luck, graduates.
Mrs. Knupp, thank you for helping us remember some of the great experiences the class of 2013 had in their time in our district, and for your service to our students and our community. I would now like to welcome to the stage our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. John Hunter, to offer his comments for our senior class. Dr. Hunter.
Thank you, Mr. Fantagrossi. It's known that commencement ceremonies frequently serve as the catalyst for graduates, their families, friends, and teachers to reflect about the future. And many a graduation address has focused upon the themes of graduates having bright futures or graduates seeking to control their futures, and perhaps graduates needing to confront the uncertainty of the future. Now, I know many of these Fairport graduates, and I know their parents, and I know their teachers. Your future will be no mystery. Absolutely no mystery, because it's no mystery that the class of 2013 already possesses knowledge and character for success. And I believe 3 very simple questions can serve as your compass to assure this success. Ask these 3 questions frequently of yourself, your mentors, your employers, your spouses, and your friends. Ask these questions. How can I help you? What can I learn? How do I excel? The question, how can I help you, is your key to respect, be it small or large, the helping hand that you extend, the giving of self, the sharing of time, or the sharing of kindness and resources will build and continue to shine your character. And on the outside, your character will be the lighthouse for others to follow, and from within, that character that you build will serve as your reservoir of confidence that will enable you to confront many of life's challenges. The question, what can I learn, is your commitment for continuous growth and for continuous health. When you're curious, when you're an entrepreneur, when you tackle the complex, when you are the risk taker or the trusted sage, you stay young, you stay active, and you have fun. Because when you keep learning, your career choice will not be a job, but instead it becomes a means for living out your life's passion. Finally, the question, how do I excel, requires 2 answers. First, the question will force you to confront how to define ethical behavior. What does your moral compass tell you about taking shortcuts, cheating, telling white lies, or breaking the law in order to succeed? Will you accept that the ends justify the means, or will you hold yourself to a much higher law? Next, as you seek excellence, you must ask and answer the question if you have the discipline to excel. Can you vision a better future and then make the plans and the commitments in order to excel? When you ask these questions, you're not only working to achieve excellence, you will be establishing your personal legacy. 3 questions. How can I help you? What can I learn? How can I excel? As I reflect on these 3 questions and look at the class of 2013, I see only a wonderful future. The Fairport High School class of 2013, our future is in your good hands. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Hunter, for your words of wisdom and for your hard work on behalf of our students. It is certainly appreciated. And let me also offer a heartfelt congratulations on your upcoming retirement. I wish you the best in all of your future endeavors. Next, I have the privilege of introducing our class salutatorian, Erica Schwartz. Erica is planning on studying finance and economics at one of my alma maters, Fordham University. In addition to her considerable academic accomplishments of having the 2nd highest average of our 516 graduates, she also was an active member of our community, participating in Fairport soccer and the German exchange and leadership trips. Ladies and gentlemen, Erica Schwartz.
Mr. Fanagrossi, teachers of FHS, proud parents,
brothers and sisters, and of course, my fellow classmates. The first thing I would like to say is thank you. Thank you for making Fairport High School one of the best institutions to learn, think, grow, and mature. Thank you for giving us the tools to not only move forward in life, but to change the world in amazing ways. And thank you for guiding us and supporting us, no matter what our dreams for the future may be. Winston Churchill once gave a speech after World War II in which he said, "Never give in, never give in, never, never, never. In nothing, great or small, large or petty, never give in except to the convictions of honor and good sense." Through these simple but honest words, Churchill revealed something that all of us must understand and adhere to. Those who never stop trying succeed in life. Churchill's statement is so powerful because without dreams and desires, we as human beings would be unfamiliar with passion and unable to determine our purpose in the world. Think about it. We motivate ourselves to wake up for school in the morning, study for exams, and give 110% at practice because we envision a future for ourselves in which our dreams become a reality. But as many of us have already experienced, not every one of our dreams has come true. As some of you may know, the Fairport girls varsity soccer team dreamt of winning the state title this year. The dream actually formed a couple of years ago when our club team was very successful at state tournaments. Each practice and game from then on was devoted to accomplishing what we believed was quite possible. Last fall, the regular season started out great as the team succeeded in going undefeated. But then in the Section 5 semifinals, we lost 1-0. We were in shock. Anger, frustration, and defeat boiled in our blood and trickled through our veins. And what hurt the most was coming to terms with the harsh reality that our dream was in fact over. But fortunately, the beauty of dreams is that it is possible to have more than one. So when one dream slips through our fingertips, unable to be revived from the past, or when our passion for one dream fizzles, we are able to devote our focus to achieving and fulfilling another dream. Life is too short to dwell on futile dreams, dreams that in no way, shape, or form can ever be attained again. But when we ignite the fire within ourselves and center our thoughts toward a dream that can in fact be accomplished, then we are leading ourselves on the path toward success. And as it turns out, now is the perfect time to discard of our futile dreams and craft new dreams which motivate us and give us a reason to work hard. Today marks the last page in the first chapter of our personal memoirs. Tomorrow, we turn to a fresh page and start chapter 2. In many ways, this is wholly nerve-wracking. Different friends, different teachers, different experiences. But in a much grander sense, it is stimulating, exciting, enlightening. It is our chance to start fresh. Maybe our goals for the future will change, or maybe they will remain the same. But nonetheless, we will have to work even harder and put in even more time to accomplishing what truly matters to us. And as scary as it seems, I'm confident that we have all acquired the skills to not only dream of the future that we want, but achieve those goals with courage, class, and character. Another aspect of dreams that makes them so unique, so powerful in this large and daunting world is their ability to breed and in fact encourage imagination. As J.K. Rowling once stated, imagination is the uniquely human capacity to envision that which is not. Imagination is a window into a world of possibility. Without it, we would never venture outside of our comfort zone, satisfy our deepest curiosities, or believe that we can change the world. None of us would have the desire to pursue a college education, enter the workforce, or join the military. Life simply would lose meaning. Take a look at Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, or Abby Wambach. Why are they so successful? Because their imagination triggered their dreams, which in turn became realities with the help of perseverance and persistence. It's as simple and yet as complicated as that. But I have no doubt that the class of 2013 has the mental strength and sheer determination to set our minds to something and work at it every single day. It may take us years to accomplish, it may bring with it a series of obstacles, and it may test our physical and mental capacity, but we can and we will do it. If there is one thing that I will remember about my fellow classmates, it is that the class of 2013 is characterized by people who not only dream big things, but achieve big things. Look at the men's baseball team and the women's softball team, who just recently became Section 5 champs, or Madeline Krieger, who is attending Durham University in England this fall, or Luke Tyberski, who plans to study archaeology at NYU Abu Dhabi. Clearly, we as a class have become legendary. And although we will be at several corners of the globe next year, I believe that we can continue to turn our talents into far-reaching dreams. So as we all prepare to enter the world beyond the confines of high school, I see it as our task to love, learn, and live. Never settle for what is clearly attainable, because nothing of importance is ever easy. Think back to championship games that you have won, performances that you have rocked, or schoolwork that you are thoroughly proud of. Chances are these memories mean so much to you because you persevered, you made the enlightening discovery that you are capable of even more than you thought, and you made others happy. To the class of 2013, I would like to say congratulations and good luck. Continue to dream and continue to shine your light, and you will be successful.
Erica, thank you for reminding us of the importance of following and fighting for our dreams. Definitely words we can live by. How do I describe our next speaker? Senior class president, master of ceremonies for the Crush Cancer Concert, frequent presenter on the Morning Show Live, future attendee of SUNY Fredonia. Ultimately, I describe her as a true leader by both action and word. For the final time tonight, our senior class president, Anna McCaslin.
Well deserved. I apologize for the oversized gown this evening. I ordered bigger thinking they would be a little small. Now I'll be donating this to Mr. Davis to cover up his bike. Before I start, I'd just like to say thank you to my mom, my dad, my grandparents, and my family for being the most supportive people in my life. To my teachers, to my friends, to my best friends Amber Schechter and Mark Diven, and to the wonderful class of 2013. Hello, Fairport seniors. Wonderful to see all of you as a collective group one last time. Even though we are wearing some of the most unflattering colors known to man, but hey, go Big Red. I kid, but really, I feel like Kool-Aid Man. Oh yeah! Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to take a quick snapshot of this moment, because that's my generation, so. All right, everybody say YOLO. All right, I'm going to do one selfie. Hashtag graduating, hashtag red gown, hashtag Insta diploma, hashtag I barely passed politics. All right. Thank you for your patience. When I ran for senior class president, I knew I would have to make this speech. Even though I knew all year, I did my speech just how I did all of my important work of senior year, last minute. I didn't fully realize how important the class president hat you all let me wear would be until this year. I had so much fun listening to requests, organizing events with my fellow officers, over there and over there. I had so much, organizing events and seeing how much the class of 2013 had to offer. Even if I had to go on the morning, oh, just got a text message, so. Just put that right down there. Even if I had to go on the morning show more times than I was comfortable with. I've seen you all band together in so many different ways this year. Junior and sophomore year were nothing compared to this year. This year, I finally knew what it meant to be a part of the Fairport family. I honestly did not grasp what that meant till this year. Senior year has helped me realize that no matter what happened to me during that year, I would always have a shoulder to cry on or a friend to laugh with, and I'm hoping you all felt that way too. Unfortunately, as we leave this wonderful school, we are left with a lot of unanswered questions. Who is Big Daddy and why is his pizza so good? Is that really beef in the taco salad? Why does the chicken in the chicken Caesar salad smell vaguely of tuna? And if you blow twig smoke in a teacher's face, will they still not see it? Like, really? You didn't see it? Oh, but seriously, the FHS cafeteria is the 8th wonder of the world. But I digress. Fairport High School is a unique place in that it holds so much talent. The talents that you all possess amaze me. I'm excited for your futures and what they hold. I'm excited to see you all shine as bright stars. I'm excited to go to an art show in New York and see Aaron Maloney's artwork on display. I'm excited to go watch Connor Simonetti play professional baseball. I'm excited to see Lauren Fent win a Tony for her first debut Broadway performance. I'm excited to see Tom Draitline, Dylan Vasey, Blake Ellis, and Annalise Baker make thousands of people laugh. To see all of you shape our world in your own unique, wonderful ways, whether it be Nick Schneller starting his own business, Lawrence Fan having the next biggest breakthrough in technology, Summer Hills becoming a doctor, or Kristen Welch opening her own amazing hair salon. Because no talent and no dream is small. Don't let anyone tell you that your dream is insignificant or too hard to reach. Your dream is something that is your own, and I don't care what anyone says. It's important, and I know I'm going to see all of you do great things. Now, I've made a list of a few lessons I've learned in my few years on this earth, and if you don't mind, I'd like to share them with you. The wonderful Mrs. Jones actually gave me this idea in her creative writing class, so that's a really great class. If you're an underclassman here, you take that class. Okay. Sleep, play video games, watch all 8 seasons of Supernatural for the 7th time, sleep again, eat a ham sandwich, cry about college debt. I'm sorry, that's my to-do list. I apologize. All right, okay. All right. I call this reading and laughing keeps you young. I've only been around for 18 years, and in the great scheme of things, it's not very long. But those years have taught me a few things I would like to keep close to myself as I grow older. I hope that you will lend me an ear, excusing my age, and listen to the lessons I have to teach you. Read. Reading keeps you sharp and helps you learn. I don't care if it's a comic book, a novel, a play, or just an article online. Read and enjoy it. There will always be literature out there for you. Dream. Dream as much as you can. Dreams are something that are unique to your personality. You may share a similar dream with an individual, but it will never be your dream. Your dream is specific to you. Your dream isn't small, it's always big. Don't let people laugh at the things you love. I did that for too long. I let people think that the nerdy things I loved were stupid and insignificant. It took me too long to realize that what I love is what makes me me. So don't let people laugh at you, even if it is Doctor Who. Don't hide who you are just because people don't understand. You are your biggest support system. You can say a few people helped you through hard times, but you picked yourself up. At the end of the day, you are the person that is going to push yourself to the limit and make yourself happy. The earth can live without us, but we can't live without it. So please recycle your cans once in a while. Maybe don't kill that spider that's in your room. Put it in a cup and let it out. Coexisting is important, and so is our planet. I'm watching you throw out those cans. Seen your cafeteria? Filled. Just because you're older doesn't mean you deserve respect. Respect is earned, and that goes both ways. Good won't always win the battle, but it will always win the war. There are a lot of dark things in our world, but it's the light that keeps us going. Like my favorite hobbit once said, "There's some good in this world, Mr. Frodo, and it's worth fighting for." Don't be ashamed of crying. Crying is not weakness. Crying is a beautiful emotion unique to humans. If a musical piece, movie, TV show, video game, or sport event has brought tears to your eyes, you let them flow. And don't you dare make fun of someone for crying. Laugh as much as you can. If I could ask you to do anything, it would be just to laugh. Laugh at people falling down. They're not going to see you, so what's the point? Just laugh. Laugh, 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 laugh. Learn. Knowledge is truly power, because anyone can control an army with a gun, but an individual can move mountains with an idea. You choose your family. Like my favorite television show once said, Supernatural, family doesn't end with blood. Family doesn't end with blood. Your family is whoever you want it to be. Your family is who loves you no matter what, 24/7 unconditional love. Humanity is great. It's going to fail you now and again, but please don't give up on it. We focus too much on the negatives about people. We shouldn't ignore the negatives so we can fix them when the time comes, but people need to realize that people aren't all that bad. We band together at terrible odds. Most of us are constantly trying to better ourselves, and we try our best to reach out to our fellow man and woman. We create musical pieces that bring tears to our own eyes, movies that teach us lessons, books that send us into worlds we've never seen before. We make scientific discoveries that teach us about who we are and even save lives. Love. Love as much as you can. Love your life. Love your friends. Love your family. Love a dog. Love a cat. Love a person. Just put all the love you can into your being. And last but not least, love yourself, because you're truly incredible. Fairport High School, you are all beautiful stars, exploding into time and space, leaving your mark on generations to come. You are wonderful, and people can see your shine from miles away. It's been my pleasure. Now go be fantastic. Thank you.
Anna, thank you for sharing your life lessons with us, and a special thank you from all of us in our 30s and 40s for your Kool-Aid Man reference. I would now like to call to the podium Angela Wang. In addition to being our class valedictorian, Angela is an accomplished musician. She is attending Johns Hopkins University in the fall, planning to major in applied math and pre-med. Angela Wang.
Ladies and gentlemen, friends, family, faculty, and fellow graduates, good evening. Thank you for your presence and patience. One day in second grade, I borrowed a book from the Dudley School Library. That book was Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Foolishly enough, I had never read the first book of the series. At the time, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the movie, was all the rage, and I still remember peeking through my hands at bits and pieces while my neighbors watched me with expectant smiles. It was the most horrifying movie I'd ever seen. Every night, I would check the back of my head just to make sure there wasn't another face there. Nevertheless, I decided to join the cool crowd and read the next book. I didn't get very far. By the time Dobby appeared in Harry's room, I was thoroughly confused and proceeded to shove the book in my closet, the resting place of all my unwanted belongings. A few months later, I encountered trouble in the library. "Your book is 2 months overdue," the librarian scolded me. "If you don't return it, you'll have to pay a fine." Fine, I thought angrily. Good riddance. Feeling vindictive, I dug through my closet, returned the book, and vowed to avoid Harry Potter for the rest of my days. I kept my vow for the next 10 years. While my friends dressed up for midnight releases and pulled all-nighters in order to read, I would complain to my parents. "I don't get why people are so obsessed. They're just fantasy books." Luckily, my misguided musings were cut short. Last summer, my little brother began flaunting the fact that he had begun reading the books. Finally, thanks to my friends' urgings and my inner desire to compete with my 8-year-old brother, I decided to give the series another try. I made the right choice. A few chapters in, my former biases were completely shattered. I was hooked. After having devoured 7 novels at an alarming pace, I am now proud to be one of the fans whom I used to criticize. Reading Harry Potter has turned my world upside down. Even disregarding the occasionally cheesy parables in the books themselves, my 10-year journey from skeptic to fan has taught me the most enduring lessons this year. I have learned to set aside old prejudices and approach every experience with an open mind. When I managed to shrug off my childhood misgivings, I discovered an entirely new world, literally. I have learned to listen to the advice of others because oftentimes the majority is right. In this case, the millions of fans around the world, including all those who have encouraged, cajoled, or harassed me to read the books, definitely know what they're talking about. I have learned that it is never too late to indulge in a new experience, no matter how childish or outdated that experience may seem. While I wish I could have grown up alongside Harry and his friends, reading the series at an older age has been incredibly fulfilling and certainly more thought-provoking. And on top of that, I barely had to wait before reading the next book in the series. Finally, I have learned that the world is not black and white, that any experience is defined only by what I make of it. Harry Potter may be classified as fantasy, but it can be easily defined by adventure, romance, mystery, tragedy, and nearly every genre imaginable. The books can be whatever the reader wants them to be, from entertaining beach reads to springboards for hardcore literary analysis. I feel that these lessons serve as crucial reminders, especially at this stage in our lives. As we leave the comfort of our childhoods, I hope that we can all remember to cherish the possibilities. While it is much easier to cocoon ourselves in security and familiarity, breaking past our limits and preconceptions will always prove more satisfying. So, class of 2013, let us throw off our old prejudices and plunge forward with an open mind. Wherever we go and whatever we do, let us remember that life is what we make of it. Let us take risks, step outside of our comfort zone, and embrace our mistakes as learning opportunities. Let us blaze our own path while heeding the advice of those who have come before. Let us redefine our boundaries, seek out challenges, and attempt what we have never done. After all, it never hurts to try. And who knows, perhaps it will unlock a fascinating new world. A special thank you to our parents for putting up with our complaints and supporting us anyway. To our siblings for giving us incentive to try harder and do more in their own way. To our friends for sticking by our sides and knocking sense into our heads. And most importantly, to our teachers for teaching, inspiring, and believing in us, even when we doubted ourselves. Congratulations to us all, and remember, as Albus Dumbledore said, it is our choices that show what we truly are, far more than our abilities. Thank you.
Angela, thank you for reminding us to move out of our comfort zone and continue to try new things. Good advice for all of us. Now, if you could please turn your attention to our day jazz band under the direction of Mr. Bill Tiberio. Mr. Tiberio and the Day Jazz Band, thank you for your musical tribute to the class of 2013. I would now ask our senior class vice president, Walker McKenzie, to come to the microphone to introduce tonight's guest speaker. Walker.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight is my honor to introduce our graduation speaker, Mr. Kevin Sachs. Mr. Sachs was born here in Fairport and graduated from FHS in 1988. He then went to Syracuse University, where he graduated from in 1992. After college, he worked in journalism and public relations, but began to realize he truly wasn't enjoying what he was doing. So in 2001, his wife Jackie encouraged him to go in another direction. He had always had a love for history and realized he would enjoy teaching high school students. 9 years later, he's confident he has made the right choice. He received his master's in adolescent education from Nazareth in 2003 and has since been teaching U.S. history, sociology, and psychology at Fairport High School. Outside of teaching, he enjoys playing golf, going to as many concerts as he possibly can, and coaching his children Haley and Aiden's sports teams. While he's accomplished a great number of things in his life, he is speaking today because the class of 2013 chose him as our speaker. We chose him not only because he is a great educator, but also because he is a great mentor. From the first time you meet Mr. Sachs, you know that he is friendly and approachable. Students feel comfortable talking with him about classroom issues, but also feel comfortable discussing situations that are occurring outside of school. He shows genuine interest in all of his students and builds relationships that last long after high school. In the end, he is passionate about his job, he goes the extra mile for all of his students, and that is what makes him such a great teacher. So now, please join me in welcoming Mr. Kevin Sachs.
You guys look fantastic. Parents, siblings, colleagues, Board of Education, class of 2013. I'm deeply honored and humbled to be chosen to speak to you tonight. I cannot tell you how much it means to me. The class of 2013 was a very special one to me. A lot of you guys know that long before you selected me as your speaker, but much more on that later. I have to admit, this was months away for a long time, and then weeks away, and then days away, then hours away. I'm sitting home today, and I was a little bit nervous. Not surprising, you know, it's a kind of a big deal. And so naturally, I looked to my 9-year-old son to kind of help me out, and he didn't disappoint. Aiden has some phrases, and one of his phrases that he says quite a bit, and I have no idea where he is. He's out there somewhere. But he says to me, he says, "Dad, chillax." All right, and that was exactly kind of what I needed to hear. He's pretty sure he invented the word. I'm not positive, but so at any rate, that helped me. Clearly tonight is a celebration of all of you and your impressive accomplishments. But I would be remiss if I did acknowledge two important individuals not here tonight. Though Blake and Heather are not physically in the building, make no mistake, they are with us tonight. If we are truly the product of our influences, each of us is infinitely better off for our interactions with those two amazing, impactful individuals. Blake and Heather are in each of us who they affected in so many ways, so as we celebrate tonight, it is with them in our thoughts and our hearts, as they will be long after we leave this building. What better way to honor their influence than to remember them as we move forward from this important night on to wherever our lives take us. They are with us on our paths. Your path is a big part of what I want to talk to you guys about tonight. When you're in grade school, that path is pretty predictable. Are there some detours and speed bumps along the way that make our paths different? Sure. But overall, your path has been more predictable to this point than it will ever be again. That was certainly the case with me, and the location of tonight's event could not be more appropriate to demonstrate the unpredictable twists and turns those paths can take. My experience in, and Mr. Gillette will appreciate this, the big house, right? Over the years offers a bit of a window into my story, my unlikely path. That path came through this place on more than one occasion. A few hundred yards, my graduation wasn't held here, it was up the street a few hundred yards, where your ball was last month, but this place was central to some big events earlier in my life and even now. I sat there as a teenager, losing my hearing at a Yes concert. It was worth it. There for Stevie Ray Vaughan and Robert Plant, there for Bruce Springsteen, and there, and there, and there, in there. I got problems there. I've seen them a lot. And also, right about over there for Disney Princesses on Ice, all right? Don't judge me, all right? Kids change some things someday. You'll see. And I sat there many times in press row covering high school basketball games as a local newspaper reporter. In my basement, I have tattered, beat-up reporters' notebooks from when I was a reporter covering boxing matches in this building as well. Elbows on the canvas. It was really, really cool. Just as some of you might have had an idea of what you wanted to do, what you wanted your career to be from a relatively early age, I was sure of my path a long time ago. And things worked out well for me. I got into my top school, Syracuse, and earned a degree in newspaper journalism. Everything was going along exactly as I had planned for a long time. This has been my definitive career goal, to be a reporter since I was 12 years old with a paper route, all right, for a paper that doesn't exist anymore, the Times-Union, earning a whopping $7.50, of which I spent every penny on baseball cards at Clausen's every week. So I saved no money, but I worked every single day, at any rate. Since I was a little kid, wasting away afternoons playing wiffle ball in the backyard with my neighbors, writing game stories after watching the 1981 World Series with my dad, this was what I was supposed to do. This was what I was destined to do. This was my career. I knew it, right? Well, a funny thing happened on the way to writing cover stories for Sports Illustrated. I had some amazing experiences as a reporter. In 1995, I got to cover the Ryder Cup. It was unbelievable at Oak Hill. I was a reporter when Abby Wambach was coming through Mercy. I got to cover her in her high school career, basketball and soccer. I went to countless amazing basketball games right in this building. But eventually I realized that maybe what I had thought was a career that was made for me, that I was made for, wasn't as ideal as I had anticipated. I had changed. This was a difficult thing for me to come to terms with. I remember driving home from my last day at the newspaper, feels like a week ago, feeling just a deep sense of failure, because this was what I was always supposed to do. It's what I always had wanted to do. I realize now that I made the right decision, but at the time, I felt that I had given up in what had been a dream of mine, major life and career dream, for as long as I could remember. In a way, it had defined me for a long time, but things had changed. Like I said, I had changed. From there, I went to work in public relations, which I did for 8 years. The money was good, the hours were much more manageable, but something was still missing. It wasn't me. With some encouragement from my wife, I decided to change once more. I decided to go back to school to become a teacher like my mom was for over 3 decades. And she's out there somewhere, too. Mark Twain once said, "The two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you realize why." For me, I didn't truly figure out what I wanted to do until after I'd gone to college for something entirely different and tried 2 radically different careers. Every year, I feel the stress and frustration of my students build as they struggle with decisions such as, where will I go to school? What will I major in? What will I be for the rest of my life? That's a tough question to answer at 36, let alone 16. I always wish there was some way I could ease those anxieties, some way to make you realize that those qualities you demonstrate on a daily basis in school and out are exactly what are going to drive you and make you successful in whatever you do, regardless of the path you take. Now, though, I realize that that's exactly the point. We learn from the experience. The experience is the education, and everyone has to go through it on their own, regardless of what any teacher says. On your path, there will be challenges. Some small and easily handled, while others will test you in ways that you never anticipated. And while some of those successes will be fantastic, amazing, satisfying, I've always felt that I learned more about myself from failures. Seriously, this brings back bad memories. I once FedExed all of the materials needed for a major international press conference to China instead of Japan. That was a problem. I once wrote that a high school basketball player I was writing a story on was a 6'9" freshman. All right, colleges would have been drooling over this kid if he wasn't a 6'1" senior. All right, I don't recommend either of those moves for career advancement, but those things happen, and it's how you respond to those setbacks that matters most. How you react when not everything goes perfectly or when everything goes wrong. Rather than grow discouraged, embrace those moments as opportunities to learn and improve. Acknowledge the successes and the failures, but don't let either define you. There will be moments of self-doubt that will tempt you to question or change who you are. That's when it's most important to remember who you are, stay true to yourself. Even when that's the toughest thing to do, you'll be stronger and better for it. Know that you'll need that strength often on your journey. A Massachusetts English teacher and the son of a writer that I admire greatly, David McCullough Jr., recently gave a commencement speech that's made the rounds on Twitter and online as well. But a quote of his really struck me and kind of stuck with me over the last probably month or so since I saw it. He urged graduates to climb the mountain, not to plant your flag, but to embrace the challenge, enjoy the air, and behold the view. Climb it so you can see the world, not so the world can see you. I thought that was a really cool quote. I mean, in today's society, social media and technology can often make us feel as if we are the center of a universe focused on us. That can make us feel a sense of entitlement that doesn't really align with the real world. Society doesn't owe us anything. Success is earned and takes hard work. That's an important thing to remember, especially when we achieve great success, which so many of you guys will. But you're well equipped to do just that. Work ethic and motivation are not attributes whose benefits are limited to a single field. Just as the benefits of those characteristics has opened up college doors for so many of you guys, good things will continue to happen with that same focused approach, and in time you'll find your niche. Trust yourself. Listen to that inner voice. Follow that internal compass, and you'll know when you find your way. How will you know? It's hard to say. But you will know. It will feel right in every way. You'll know it in your soul. For some of you, it might happen immediately. For others like me, it's going to take a little while. But have faith and confidence in yourself that you will find it, and try to remember that it's as much about the journey as the destination. I know that's not always easy. I used to be guilty of always looking ahead and thinking about what's next. But if I've learned anything over the years, and particularly this year, it's that if you're always looking ahead, you can miss out on a lot of the many amazing moments that are happening now in the precious present, as my former sociology colleague Jim Nowak used to love to say. And Kyle Hargrave says daily, if you guys that have been fortunate enough to have Kyle know. Life isn't tomorrow. Nothing is guaranteed. Life is now. And now it's pretty cool, isn't it? Seriously, when was the last time you truly stopped, looked around, and appreciated the moment that you were experiencing at that exact moment for what it was? Not taking a picture, not tweeting, not texting about it, but just looking around and soaking up that moment for every ounce of what it is. Think about that right now. Think about all the moments, people, and influences that have led you to this exact moment. Think of what this is and what it represents. Think about those influences you look around this building. The friends, the parents that have impacted you and are here tonight to celebrate all that you have done. Look to your right, look to your left, look at the row in front of you. I bet you don't have to look far to see somebody who's had a big impact on you. All right, somebody that was really important to you, and it's very meaningful to have them here with you tonight. Look around you, take a mental picture of that, and remember this moment. Also remember what brought you to this moment. Remember your path. Mine started in a half house on Clinton Place in the Village, a few blocks north of the canal, in the early 1970s. I used to lug my Snoopy lunchbox with me up the hill to school at Brooks Hill. I played t-ball at Potter Park. My mom, my sister, as I said, both of them are here tonight. We would ride our bikes to the Village to get my hair cut at R&J Barbershop. In so many ways, like so many of you guys, Fairport is a huge part of me. Lived here my whole life. I've attended or taught at every school in the district but two. Of course, I married a Fairport girl, my wife Jackie, who's here somewhere tonight. Though we didn't date until college, I can admit now that I had a crush on since Northside, wherever you are. All right. My son Aiden, that I talked about before, just finished 3rd grade at Northside. My daughter Haley just completed 6 at JP. They are realizing in their own way how wonderful a place and how special a place Fairport is. Author George Moore once said, "A man travels the world over in search of what he needs and returns home to find it." When I was hired as a teacher by Fairport, a brief announcement appeared in a school newsletter. A few days later, I received an email asking by chance if I was the same Kevin Sachs who might possibly have attended 2nd grade at Dudley School in the late 1970s. It's a long time ago. The email was from Linda Swanson, my 2nd grade teacher, who remembered things about that 2nd grade kid that the kid himself had long since forgotten. That gifted teacher and amazing woman retired 2 years ago, but often helps out at her former schools. And when she does, she makes a point to seek out my 2 kids and say hello and tell them to say hello to me. That's what Fairport's about. And how cool is that? I tried sending an email to her. I don't know if she's still looking at her email, but I'm confident she's around Fairport still. My favorite middle school math teacher, Mr. Dunn, now principal at Martha Brown, as many of you guys know. He also helped me as a student taught there with Mrs. Woods, whose youngest is graduating tonight. Congratulations, Jordan, wherever you are. My 10th grade biology teacher, Mrs. Wynn, I knew her better as Mrs. Baker. She is here somewhere. I saw her earlier. One of my best friends from grade school remains one of my best friends today, though these days we're more likely to be found on the golf course than at Craig Road playing hoops. But Billy is here tonight somewhere. Those are just a few examples of countless others that I or any Fairport graduate could give about what it means to be from here, to be of here. Like my colleague, Mr. Dill, who, though not from Fairport, certainly is one of us, retiring after 35 years as one of the hardest working, most respected teachers in the district. Fairport's full of people like that. Being from here means something. Wherever your path takes you, whatever amazing jobs and adventures await you, remember that and know that Fairport will always be here for you. So many of you in the building tonight know exactly what I'm talking about. In many cases, none more so than your parents. They have so much to be proud of and clearly have done a whole lot of things right in raising you guys. Thank them tonight and tomorrow and the day after that, but know this is a tough night for them. All right? Well, you might think that they're counting the days before they can turn your bedroom into a rec room or man cave. What they're really doing, and I'm already seeing it, my kid's only in 6th grade, my oldest, but I can't believe how fast time's going by. All right? What they're really doing is looking back in stunned amazement at what the heck happened to that wide-eyed little boy or girl in the footy pajamas who they used to read Goodnight Moon to every night. As the Toy Story DVDs gathered dust on the shelf, as the American Girl dolls got pushed to the back of the closet, you were changing too fast. Somehow, in between the Fairport Little League games, the Build-A-Bear birthday parties, you remember those, the fun nights, the swimming lesson, that kid with the knees worn out of his jeans grew up. But Mom and Dad, you did an incredible job. As a parent myself, I often think of the kind of people I want my kids to be. I don't need to look far. If my kids could grow up to be as well-rounded, hardworking, and simply decent as your sons and daughters, I will have truly done a fantastic job. And it's not just the grades, though they were consistently impressive also. Class of 2013, it's the graciousness of saying hello to me every day when you walk into my class. It's your uncompromising work ethic. It's the kindness and support you show each other through the good and the bad. It's stopping in my classroom during a free period to ask me what the heck I'm listening to. It's showing up at my daughter's softball game to cheer her on because you once played Little League and knew how much it meant or how much she looked up to you. There's so many more anecdotes I could say that demonstrate the outstanding people you have all become. So many times over the last few years, I looked out at you guys and was so consistently impressed by you in so many ways. My family and I would be out somewhere in Fairport. I'd bump into one of you. After we spoke, I'd say to my family, "What an amazing kid. She's the best," or something similar. They would then proceed to make fun of me, not unusual at all, accusing me of saying that about every student I bumped into with them. And of course, they were right. But I meant it every time. When I decided to go back to school to become a teacher, Fairport was at the top of my list. When I decided to become a teacher, I dreamed of what my ideal classroom would look like, what those students would be like. It was never as good as you guys. Never. To me, that is success. I don't care how big my paycheck is, how big my office is, or how fancy my title is. The personal satisfaction and pride I feel when I wake up to do what I'm excited to do every day is worth more than any monetary compensation I could ever receive. I am paid in so many other ways, and that's what I wish for all of you, that you find your true calling, that you find what inspires you on a daily basis, because that is priceless. Find that passion, let it fuel you. The rest is going to take care of itself. Stay positive and confident on your path. One of my favorite, I had to do this. All right, Mrs. Steffer will appreciate this. I'm not going to sing, though. One of my favorite Springsteen songs that I've seen him perform here several times often serves as inspiration to me. In The Promised Land, Bruce Springsteen implores the audience to blow away the dreams that tear you apart, blow away the dreams that break your heart, blow away the lies that leave you nothing but lost and brokenhearted. In other words, rise above the negative influence and expectation of others, and instead channel that energy into making your own dreams a reality, like so many of you guys have done so well so far. Life is a story. Yours is about to get very interesting. And tonight is the culmination of one chapter of that story. It's a big one. Sets up everything that's to come. It's a major rite of passage in our culture, as my sociology students know very well. As you get ready for that next chapter, know that you're ready, and know that where you go, what you do, it's up to you. And if it turns out to be different than you thought it would, great. Embrace that uncertainty and write your story. I cannot wait to read it. And 10 years from now, 20 years from now, as I'm walking down Main Street in the Village and I bump into one of you guys, I'll remember this moment. I'll remember you, and I'll be so excited to hear what you've become. And as you walk away, I'll turn to my wife and say, there goes one of my favorite students, and I'll mean it every time. Thank you, guys.
Mr. Sachs, thank you for your reflections and for your commitment to the students of Fairport High School. By your election to this honor, it is clear they feel as strongly about you as you feel about them. Please welcome to the podium our senior class secretary, Kayla Schum, and treasurer, Mark Sweeney. Kayla and Mark.
Every year, the senior class presents a gift upon graduation. This year, our gift is something that we feel will make a valuable impact from our class.
We have chosen to make donations to two funds that will affect the two families that meant a lot to the class of 2013.
The first donation will go to the Blake Cognata Scholarship Fund. Looking back on this year, Blake was one of the most inspirational individuals in our class. He always had a positive attitude and reminded us that whenever things didn't go as planned in life, there is always something to smile about with the people that surrounded and love us. The money that will be going to this special fund will help a senior pursue post-high school goals. The seniors selected for this scholarship must show the courage, strength, and character that Blake displayed throughout his life in the face of adversity.
The second donation will go toward the Heather Boyer Memorial Fund that was established to help pay for the college education of her children, Fraser and Paige. Mrs. Boyum was actually one of our class advisors for our sophomore and junior year. She came to work every day loving her job because she worked with us. She was an inspiration to students, staff, and our community. When facing doubt and overcoming difficult times, she reminded us to choose happy. We have also donated memorial bricks to her family. One of the bricks can be seen in the new memorial at FHS, which is near right under Angel Hill, and you can see it next year when you come to visit.
In addition to the two donations, we are also purchasing new appliances for the concession stand at the Turf. If you came out to a football game this year, you saw we were a little backed up on orders, especially in coffee and hot chocolate, big hit, but the new equipment should keep the flow of things going.
And these gifts will help further the education of Fairport students as well as impacting the lives of Fraser, Paige, and future seniors to come. Thank you.
I could not think of a more appropriate representation of what this group of students means to FHS than these donations. Thank you for your thoughtfulness. And now, the moment you have been waiting for. A moment that would not be possible without many people, but it truly wouldn't be possible without our lead counselor, Mr. John Serafin. So please give him a round of applause. And so, with no further ado, the presentation of diplomas.
Sarah Abbott. Taylor Akins. Courtney Alexander. Bradley Aldridge. Shantale Allen. Lisa Amoroso. Brendan Anderson. Olivia Anderson. Carolyn Arbuckle. Joseph Arcarice. Sean Arnold. Tyler Arnold. Catherine Aroni. Curtis Arve. Christian Astigaraga. Rebecca Avilas. Eric Baccaro. Kessler Bachman. Yava Bakut. Lauren Bailey. Annalise Baker. Matthew Baker. Christopher Ball. Rachel Ballatin. Jasmine Bond. David Bardanis. Jessica Barden. Amy Barker. Stephanie Bartlett. Connor Bashaw. Caitlin Bastian. Emily Baumbach. David Beeman. Aubrey Bechtold. Julie Beisheim. Jessica Belcher. Connor Bell. Gabriella Burno. Tyler Berry. Genevieve Bianchi. Margaret Bird. Bradley Boyce. Anthony Bolda. Megan Bortz. Brittany Bowie. Christopher Bove. Alexis Bowerman. Stephen Boyers. Clayton Brady. Jessica Brom. Ryan Brakovsky. Sean Breslin. Miranda Britt. Alyssa Brockman. Samantha Broking. Christine Brooks. Clarissa Brown. Leslie Brown. Mackenzie Brown. Nathaniel Brown. Nicholas Bruner. Natalie Buchanan. Courtney Bugby. Travis Buholtz. Steele Burgesson. Amanda Berkey. Melanie Burnett. Samantha Burnett. Dylan Burns Smith. Catherine Cafera. Abigail Campbell. John Carlos Cardinelli.
Madison Carter. Brandon Christopher Carroll. Brittany Christine Cashano. Marissa Castelli. Stephen Castelli. Paige Torrin Castle. Samantha Cerrone. Catherine Doyle Champlin. David Chan. Alexander Sharon. Jessica L. Christ. Christopher Sirocco. Morgan Clark. Mackenzie Cleary. Jared Clement. Adam Clothier. Phoebe Coates. Serafina Coleman. Carly Ann Camo Enderlin. Haley Combs. Taylor Combs. Emily Conway. David Cook. Sarah J. Cordez. Andre Cotto. Andrew Cranmer. Connor Creedon. Sawyer Christ. Acacia Crozier. Brant Nicholas Kraus. Patrick M. Kraus. Taylor Shea Culver. Drew Kenneth Cipher. Catherine Elizabeth Zaplicki. Martin Dack. Caroline Dalton. Alyssa Damiani. Tyler Joseph Dardzinski. Alexis Dassin. Eric Deal. Nathan DeFranco. Brielle DeJoe. Arodi DeLeon. Brennan Dell. Mitchell DeRitter. Taylor DeRosa. Jason DiGiuseppe. Kevin Alexander DeMagno. Carly Rose Dodd. Madison Rose Donor. Allison Dorsey. Maeve Doyle. Thomas Dreitline. Brianna Dubalino. Brandon James Duca. Amanda Dunham. Amy Catherine Dunn. Jason Patrick Dunn. Raymond Dunn. Emma Dustman. Michael Eason. Samantha Edelin. Ryan Michael Egling. Blake Joseph Ellis. Maria Emlano. Tressie Engert. Patrick Enright. Leanna Madison Aerosol. Alicia Exton. Lawrence Fan. Sean Fedrew. Austin Michael Fee.
Kevin Felice. Akila Felton. Ayan Philphil. Caroline Fish. Adriana Floco. Tegan Flora. Eric Flynn. Taylor Foringer. Corey Foreman. J. Michael Foreman. Claire Frazier. Alexander Freight, Ellie Freeman, Jacqueline French, Mary Kate Fry, Alyssa Gasiak, Ryan Gallagher, Trevor Gambacorda, Gladys Garcia, James Gates, James Gavert, Emily George, Ashley Gayami, Catherine Gianetti, Megan Gillia, Alexandra Glother, Christina Gagno, Cyrus Gorsica, Dylan Graham, TJ Graham Weidman, Shay Green, Veronica Grouse, Jordan Growney, Jillian Gwelly, Emily Gulnack, Carly Gutzmer, Sean Hall, Shay Hall, Zachary Hollenbeck, Savannah Haller, Brittany Halsey, Joshua Halter, Mary Catherine Hanchett, John Hannebach, Stephanie Hare, Anthony Hart, Taylor Hart, Thomas Hawkins Rush, Dakota Hurd, Carolyn Hefka, Ellie Heyer, Tayan Hester, Amanda Hughes, Summer Hills, Kristen Hirsch, Dylan Hitchcock, Elizabeth Hiwali, Tamara Hoagland, Amy Hoffarth, Chelsea Hoke, Christopher Hoke, Anna Holcomb, Cameron Horvath, Megan Houle, Nehemiah Hounshell, David Howard, Philip Huang, Ryan Hurley, Halima Hussein, Andrew Hyman.
Leanne Ingersoll. Megan Ingram. Sumaya Islam. Karen Jablonski. Jasmine Jackson. Peter Jackson. Taryn Michael Jackson. Catherine Jaworowitz. Emma Johansson. Matthew Johnson. Chelsea Jones. Elijah Jones. Kelly Jones. Patrick Jones. Marie Jubert. Jesse Judd. Sumega Junasia. Mackenzie Kaiser. Frederick Kaltenbach. Mitchell Kapp. Stanley Carr. Serena Karki. Nikhil Kasarla. Bethany Kasparik. Eric Carney. Robert Keith. Evan Keegan. Colton Kells. Nicole Kelly. Corinne Kenny. Ryan Kenrick. Nadia Kiefor. Logan Kime. Alexis Klemacheski. Kristen Cook. Kara Kaler. James Cole. Michael Kolar. Valerie Kolosovsky. Madeline Krieger. Julianne Kunzman. Julia Labash. Caitlin Landers. Ryan Landers. Oops, sorry. Ryan Landers. Ashley Large. Kimberly Leffler. Matthew Lystra. Carly Lenhart. Jacqueline Lent. Miranda Leo. Tyler Lepore. Jacob Leverett. Dominic Ligamari. Alec Linder. Cassandra Litzenberger. Margaret Lockhart. Matthew Long. Thomas Laughlin. Frank Luplow. Benjamin Lena. Janelle Malave. Mitchell Malone. Aaron Maloney. Rachel Mansler. Tyler Markowski. Tylen Martin. Aaron Massangelo. Joseph Messino.
Tyler Massett. Timothy Masucci. Rachel Matricia. Brooke McAdoo. Nicole McAlpin. Anna McCaslin. Maura McJury. Madeline McKay. Walker McKenzie. Danielle McKinnon. Nicole McKinnon. Taylor McMullen. Ryan Maynard. Luke Mirwa. Jerry Michelli. Andrew Metelski. Alakia Miller. Jordan Miller. Rockefeller Miller. Alexandra Molina. Amanda Molina. Christopher Molnar. Demetria Monachino. Connor Moore. Leah Moore. Charles Morales. Ryan Moreno. Devin Morse. Brian Mulhern. Nicole Mullen. Ike Mulligan. Stephen Munt. Aiden Murphy. Scott Nagel. Aaron Nannon. Isabel Navarro Castron. Adam New. Jamie Newcomb. Jacob Newkirk. Ryder Newland. Calvin Wynn. Mary Amiel Nichols. Thomas Nortz. Kimberly Nowicki. Brian Odell. Megan O'Donnell. Ethan O'Leary. Shane Papp. Brandon Paris. Alexander Parker. Olivia Parker. Kristen Paterno. James Patterson. Salvador Padone. Kyle Pendel. Kylie Pinella. Andrew Penner. Jake Penner. Anthony Pesci. Jordan Peterson. Lauren Fent. Winnie Pham. Avery Fallon Patton. Andrew Pieri. Amanda Platania. Emily Plotzker. Sarah Podvin. Emily Palma. Nicholas Policini. Jason Powell. Mark Prezioso.
Sean Pulver. Michael Ramage. Samantha Rapp. Michael Razavi. Conrad Record. Emma Rector. Caitlin Reddington. Sarah Reimer. Jamie Reinhold. Lauren Renault. Caitlin Renna. Tribeca Reyes. Stephanie Rich. Larissa Ringelben. Catherine Ritzman. Jarell Roberts. Xenia Roman. Michael Rommel. Amelia Rosedale. Jason Rowley. Brian Ruggieri. Christopher Rumsey. Shannon Ryan. Rama Saeed. Zachary Salmon. Elijah Sahlstrom. Ella Sandler. Jackson Santa. Miranda Santillo. Jennifer Sarkis. Jeffrey Savarino. Chloe Scarpino. Courtney Schaefer. Jonathan Schenk. Chloe Schessel. Nicholas Schneller. Kayla Schum. Erica Schwartz. Jean-Paul Scott. Mary Scott. Daniel Seberg. James Seacrest. Megan Seacrest. Andrew Segnet. Jordan Seidel. Heather Sells. Zoe Semler. Kimberly Seneker. Brianna Sen. Nadja Shackelford. Ebrahim Shah. Olivia Shipman. Kara Shue. William Simpkins. Connor Simonetti. Alex Slater. Zachary Slutsky. Desiree Smith. Joshua Smith. Megan Smith. Joseph Snyder. Kunal Sood. Brian Sortino. Sabrina Sosinski. Kyle Spacies. Devin Squires. Kyle Stacy. Alexandra Stamatis. Christy Stamatis. Lauren Starr. Tyler Stark. Mitchell Steenberg. Ethan Stephanie. Rebecca Stumbo. Emma Sullivan. Juliette Sureau.
Ryan Sutherland. Mark Sweeney. Erica Sykes. Alyssa Tambasco. Hyder Tawakali. Marisol Telez. Jill Templeton. Carl Terori. Alicia Turzo. Sashi Tasu. Justin Thomas. Maura Thompson. Alana Tierson. Grace Trentini. Gina Trotta. Emily Turner. Mary Turner. Luke Tyberski. Allison Vacanti. David Vaccaro. Dylan Vasey. John Vackner. Laura Valenti. Nicholas Vangelo. Madeline Vars. Kevin Vaughn. Aaron Vecca. Jared Ventura. Amber Vetter. Drew Viavatni. Kristen Weiss. Taylor Voigt. Angelo Volo. Kevin Volo. Amanda Von Saneth. Samantha Wager. Angela Wang. Rebecca Warner. Georgia Washington. Rebecca Waterhouse. Richard Waterhouse. Allison Weber. Kristen Welch. Dustin Welker. Tara Weston. Gregory White. Adam Whiteman. Allison Whitmarsh. Morgan Weiland. Kimberly Wilcox. Malik Wilcox. Adriana Williams. Allison Williams. Mary Kate Williams. Naomi Wilson. Simeon Wilson. William Wilson. Kevin Wojcik. Jacob Wolf. Joshua Wolf. Jordan Woods. Brendan Rafter. Jesse Werzer. Tom Shao. Tarek Yamu. Caitlin Yandreski. Allie Yost. Nathan Young. Serena Zahid. Caitlin Zazowski. And James Zemer.
Dr. Hunter, if you would now do the honor of conferring our diplomas.
Class of 2013, Board of Education, faculty, parents, and friends. By the authority invested in me by the Board of Regents of New York State, it is my pleasure to announce that we have the graduating class 2013 Fairport High School. Congratulations, graduates.
In conclusion, I would like to thank all of the loved ones of the graduates for being with us on this momentous occasion. I would like to leave you with a quote attributed to Dr. Seuss. "Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened." Fairport High School class of 2013, congratulations. Mr. Osterling and our orchestra students, please play us out. Good night, everyone.